Hey guys, today I wanted to do a short-term review on the X-T5. And before I begin, I just want to be clear that I only had this camera for about 2.5 weeks. Fuji was kind enough to lend me this camera along with the 35mm 1.4 lens. And I also wanted to mention that I can't compare this camera to a series before. Like, I've never used an X-T4 or below. The only Fuji camera that I would say that I'm very familiar with, I've used it for over 3 years now, is the X100V. So again, I can't compare anything that I'm saying to an X-T4 or less. So I think again, my overall statement on this camera is it's kind of like the jack of all trades of cameras. And although it's not I wouldn't describe this as a beginner camera only because the price point, but I guess in terms of everything else, it kind of fits into what 99% of photographers really need or want to do with the camera. And I start that off by saying that I think this is, again, kind of like a jack of all trades. It kind of does everything like really good. It shoots video really good. In fact, this video right now is being shot on the X-T5. So just kind of want to point that out. It shoots photos very well too. So it kind of does a little bit of everything really good. And again, I'm not really gonna dial too much into like specifics. I'm not gonna really do spec talk here. I'm kind of just doing an overall use perspective of what I experience. I don't wanna go too much into just detail because I'm not really, I can't say I'm detail oriented, but when it comes to specs, I feel like most of the time that stuff doesn't matter. I just wanna be hands-on with it, see what works for me, and that's just where I'm speaking from. So this is an APS-C camera, although it has a 40 megapixels. So I think in terms of image quality, it does a very good job. I think when you're cropping images, you can't really, I think that's when you start noticing that this isn't a full frame camera, although you do have the megapixels. I think it does a really good job with bokeh, all considering that it is a APS-C camera. Like I said, I did use the 35mm 1.4 lens, and I shot a lot of portraits with it or just shots of people with it. I brought it to a friend's kid's birthday party, but obviously for privacy's sake, I don't want to show their images, at least their faces, but I did shoot a lot of photos of people and the bokeh just came out really good. So I think when you're talking about like cropping, I think that's when you can kind of tell that this isn't full frame. But again, I think full frame and all that, you don't really need it. That's why I say for most people, this camera will do just fine. So I kind of wanted to do this video on the X-T5 only, and I didn't really want to compare it to anything, but I couldn't help myself coming from an X100V, kind of comparing the stuff. I think just the basics. It is bigger than the X100V, but also that's where it kind of differs. I feel like X100V is more of a travel camera, but if you want to upgrade to a camera that not only can you travel with, but you can also do, I think you can do photography like jobs with this camera. I think that's how good it is. And I'm not saying you can't do it with an X100V depending on what you shoot, but I think this is more suited for that because of you can use different lenses on it. Whereas obviously the X100V is a fixed lens. So right here, I feel like with the 35mm 1.4 that I do have on this, it can do so much versatile work. You can travel with it. You can shoot a variety of stuff, and obviously you can change to different lenses like zoom lenses if you need to. So when it comes to versatility, I don't think there's really a comparison to the lenses, obviously with an X100V. I would say if you're looking to upgrade, think about what you are lacking in from an X100V. Are you lacking like video? Then for sure you should upgrade to an X-T5. But if you are fine with just traveling with the camera and strictly just traveling, just like on the go, point and shoot, I don't think an upgrade is necessary. Although if you have this 35mm 1.4 lens, it's pretty travel friendly. It's not a giant lens. It's pretty compact for a interchangeable lens. So I think that's where it kind of differs. And again, another great thing that I love about Fujifilm is the film recipes or the simulations that it allows you to create. So I think if you're one of those people who kind of miss or just wanted to shoot film and that have that kind of look to it, I think this is a great option. And also this camera, it kind of tries to, for a digital camera, it kind of tries to give you that analog effect with all the dials. It's a very like tactile, it's a very responsive. So in that sense, obviously it's not a film camera, but if you're talking about like the dial usage and all that, it kind of gives you that feeling, if you will. So in conclusion, I know this is a very short review. Again, I only had a few weeks with it, and lately it's been so gloomy here and rainy that I didn't get to shoot with it too much. I think in conclusion, as at least in terms of images, I don't think there's a big upgrade of quality of images than from the X100V. And I think unless you're shooting like wide open all the time, that's when you start to notice like the depth of field, obviously, especially in this 1.4, the depth of field is amazing, right? So but that's different from like the quality of the image, because I think like the quality of an image from an X100V, although it's less megapixels, I feel like it's very comparable. Again, unless you're just shooting wide open, that's different, and obviously lenses matter, but I'm saying like the sharpness and all that, I feel like it's very comparable. So I don't think this is that much of a upgrade in terms of image quality, but I do think if you're looking for a camera that you want to change lenses and you have different options, or you want different options for different occasions, then for sure, I think this is the right camera for you. But I think if you're someone with an X100V and you're very satisfied with it, I don't think it's an upgrade is very necessary. Because I thought about where I would bring this camera, like substitute for my X100V, and I'm not really sure, because I feel like my X100V is already so versatile. But I think if I were to bring this camera, it'd just mostly be on like portrait shoots. If I did that, I would bring different lenses and I would shoot with this camera, obviously. But for what I do and what I need it for, I don't think it would replace like a travel camera for me. So thank you for watching that one. I know this review was kind of all over the place. I just kind of wanted to give you my thoughts on it, just very raw. Again, I didn't want to talk too much specs and all that, but rather like my off the top just thoughts on this thing. And again, it's a very great camera. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. Again, that's also coming from someone who hasn't used the X-T series, so I don't know the upgrades and all that, but just from using it these past few weeks, I really have no complaints about it. I think the form factor is nice. I think it's very lightweight. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and please like the video. Let me know your thoughts on this camera. Do you guys own one? Have you had a lot of time to use it? And just what are your thoughts on it? Do you like it? Do you hate it? And let me know. I read and respond to all comments. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.